seen the tutorial which I've uploaded. I initially decided to make a big tutorial, but then I decided let's not complex things up, things simple and easy. And so let's start with today's tutorial. Make sure you mark your attendance. The situation in Hong Kong is getting really bad. People in my surroundings, the COVID has spread so much that people in my surroundings have started to be affected. So now things are coming closer and closer. So I wish you all be very, very safe. Do not worry much. Stay strong, be mentally positive, and everything will be all right. So let me start the recording. All right. So I have uploaded a tutorial. I hope you have seen it. So today we are going to have some questions, very simple questions regarding the topics we studied. So this is your tutorial number 4. So we start with some multiple choice questions. You can read those multiple choice questions. They are very easy, very straightforward. And most of the answers to these multiple choice questions, they are from the lecture covered last Friday. So which of the following suppose asymmetric case? I can make lots of questions similar to that. It's very easy to make it. Even you, be at my position, you can make it too. So what are the important disadvantages of public key algorithm? And when a user needs to provide message integrity, what option is the best? What is certificate authority? What are certificates? And I mean, the concept regarding certificates, we had a very brief introduction to that. And which of the following is the best? Describes fundamental methods of encryption in detail. So you can discuss about that. And then there's last question, that an email with a document attachment from known individual is received with digital signature. The email client is unable to validate the signature. What is the best course of action? So you can think about it. You don't necessarily have to be correct for every answer and for everything. Do not hesitate to make mistakes. Do not hesitate to make wrong options. Just think from your own point of view. And one of the advice that I have for you is, I really wish that it would have been a face-to-face class. We would have enjoyed the subject a lot. But what I want to advise you is make small groups, and you can also make online groups and solve each tutorial together. So you read one question and discuss among your friends, and then debate. Why do you think this answer is correct, and what could be the explanation of that answer? And why do you think that this answer could not be correct? And what do you think the answer leading to this incorrect question, what could be the explanation to that, right? So that would be a very nice way of doing stuff and going through the tutorial, because doing MCQs alone is sometimes very boring. So we really, as a student, I really don't spend much time to it. So you can think, and you can see if this advice works for you, you can apply it. So these are almost 5 to 6 questions MCQs, very simple, very straightforward, and very simple. Then I put some description about what is symmetric key encryption and decryption. I was thinking to give you experience of how to do this encoding and decoding, because this is a computer security course, and as an expectation, it is like you must know some programming background. This is a computer security course, and most likely it is a fundamental course. So we don't want to go deep into the maths, and we don't want to go deep into the coding of each encryption. So a bit of experience, a bit of the important thing is we should understand what are the main key concepts and have a strong foundation. And then if we are able to experience some of the encryption and decryption, that would be amazing. So because of this pandemic and online teaching, it's getting difficult to do this labs tutorials. So most of the time I try to search some online tool and give you that. So this is a basic explanation of what is symmetric encryption and how it is being used, and what could be the advantages and disadvantages. Advantages is that it's very simple. It's not computationally extensive code. The only process is in the key generation. The disadvantages is the key management and key security. That is the biggest problem in symmetric key. We have discussed this in detail in our previous lectures, right? So let's start with this tutorial. I will also teach you another online tutorial, which is similar to PGP, the tool which I have mentioned in the lectures. PGP stands for Pretty Good Privacy. It's a tool commonly used for encryption and decryption to emulate or to simulate to do this real-time symmetric and asymmetric encoding. You can download that and see some online tutorials. I will provide you some additional stuff. You can see that. I mean, that's not a big problem. But then there is an online version of it, which is also PGP, online version of it, Pretty Good Privacy tool. And I was thinking to put this in today's tutorial, but then I decided, let's leave that thing for the next tutorial. And I will teach you, we will do this one problem on RSA algorithm, one theoretical problem in the next tutorial regarding asymmetric key encryption and decryption, so you can practice, you can have an understanding. And then I will also teach you PGP tool online. It will be interesting. It will be very similar to the tool that today we are going to do it. So that would be in PGP tool, and it would be an online, and you can experience that. So about the symmetric key encryption and decryption, you can go on to this tool. So you can click this, and you will be jumped to your browser, and this is how it looks like. So if you want to do the symmetric key encryption and decryption, remember what is a symmetric key encryption? In symmetric key cryptography, when two people want to share information, message, or plain text, they need to first generate a key. A key could be any secret, any phrase, any text, any number. A key which will be used by the sender to lock up your plain text. That means to encrypt your plain text. And then that key needs to be also shared with your receiver. And the receiver will use the same key to decrypt your plain text, right? So the key concept is the key is symmetric. The same key is being used by the sender to encrypt. The same key needs to be used by the receiver to decrypt, right? So very straightforward. We know the security of the symmetric key depends upon the length of the key. If the key is big, it gets difficult to predict. If the key is small, it gets easy to predict. If the key is big, it's easy to predict, but it's also difficult to generate. And then that is why it becomes computationally extensive, but not that much comparative to asymmetric key. And if the key is small, it's very easy to predict by intensive computing approach, which is called as brute force. Brute force means you employ all computational services to just find out that key. This is an algorithm which is easily done, used for breaking the symmetric key encryption and decryption. We know there are different kinds of symmetric key encryptions. We start with DES, then we have triple DES, then we have this advanced ES, we have Blowfish, we have other RC4, Twofish, and Serpents, and other encryption methods. Now, we don't go, because as I told you that the information is broken into the number of blocks. So which kind of blocks are being used? So there is an electronic code book, which is one of the common and most famously used. Then we have cipher block chaining. We have, this is chaining, right? Cipher block chaining, cipher feedback, output feedback, and no output feedback. Modes which are used to break up the information into blocks and then to further encode the message. So we don't go into detail because that would require extensive mathematical derivations to have a clear concept about it. So we just make ourselves familiar that there could be different methods to do this DES symmetric encryption and decryption. So let's start to do how to encrypt a message. I have listed up all the details here. This is how it looks like. Then you can select the input type and then enter message, which function to select, which mode to select. Then you need to enter your key, how to select your key, and how to enter key, and then how to encrypt. Similarly, how to decrypt. You need to upload your file. You can then use the file that is to be decrypted. Then you need to select function, the mode. Then you need to use the same key which is used for encryption and also the format, and then hit decrypt, and your file will be there to decrypt. And then I have just placed some optional stuff that you can do if you are interested. So let me show how to do this. So what we can do is, let's decide. First, we select input type. Right now, I'm going to put a plain text, a message that I want my receiver, which is you, an encrypted message, right? So let's decide about input text. So you need to be cool person to study computer security. So there's very high correlation. If you're not cool, then please leave this computer security course. As simple as that. So you need to be cool. You need to be a cool person to study computer security course, right? All right, this is my message, and this is a message that I want to send to you. I want to send it to you, and right now this is a plain text, so I have selected a plain text. The function which symmetric key I am going to test, I'm going to test DES, right? So which mode? I just keep a simple default mode. Now I can select plain text or hex. So even in plain text, if I write some keys like, you know, I'm cool, or you people are amazing. So let's say this would be the key. It gives an error that your key must be between 1 to 8 bytes. 1 byte is 8 bits and 8 bytes is 64 bits. So you need to have something like that. And so I can go for some digits. Let's say 1, or let's say 4515, which is the course code. So this is our key. Now, it is a key that you know as well and I know as well. Let's use this. And this is our plain text, a message that needs to be encrypted. And if I say encrypt, and this is how your message would look like. It is converted into some hexadecimal stuff, something weird in terms of text, and something that we're not able to understand. You can download this binary file. Let me download that. And let me download that and let me open it. I want to see the contents of this file. Let me check the contents. You can use any text editor. So I have a text editor that I want to use, which is TextEdit. And if I want to see what is the content of this file, and this is your encrypted message using DES. Clearly, if you're able to understand this, then I'm pretty much sure you do not belong to this world, because I don't think anybody could understand this. So I will start to doubt you. Who exactly are you? All right. So this is a text. This is an encrypted text. So now let's try decryption. So to decrypt, what I can do is I can upload this file. Let me browse it. Downloads. And I can upload this. And I'm using the same key, and all the other functions and options remain same. That means I am using DES, I am using electronic codebook, the method to decode, and my key is the same, which is a symmetric key, the key used for encryption. And now I can do this. This has been decrypted. All right, now you can see this is your hexadecimal file, which is converted, but you can see your message here. You need to be a cool person to study computer security course. You can download this file and see the contents. So let's see. Text editor. And you need to be a cool person to study computer security course. So your data has been decrypted, and this is your message. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's nice to experience that. I mean, it's nice to experience it. So you can try with other stuff. And if you are not happy with your plain text key, you can use any hexadecimal number, just like 15 in hexadecimal is F, right? So I can say 45F, and I can use that. Sorry, wait. I can use that. For students are pretty cool. So I can use this and use this to encrypt. And it says you are using an invalid hexadecimal string. So that means I need to use some valid hexadecimal, because 45F is not a hexadecimal. So instead I can say 16 digit is 1A, right? 1A? Yes, I think 1A or A1 or something like that. So I can use this, and this is decrypted. So this is decrypted. I can download the file and upload it. And I can use file and browse the file and use the same key to decrypt it. And once it is decrypted, my course students are pretty cool. All right, so this has been decrypted. So it's very simple. It's very simple. It's very simple. You can decide some phrase that you, if you have siblings, you can decide some phrase and you can use it to code and decode. And if you want to exchange some data amongst your friends, you can use this to do it. Now, there are some more questions which I usually put in all of my tutorials, because when I think of any topic, these are the potential questions which I could make or any ordinary person can make. And these are very simple, intuitive questions that any ordinary person will think about. And it has a very high probability that some of such questions can come in your either in assignment or in your midterm or in your final term. Because some of the tutorials I'm making by myself and they are new. So the answers to some of the questions is so intuitive that I might not give you answers for all the questions. I will still make it and publish the solution once I get time, but I don't think so. There's a need of any answers for, I mean, I don't need to answer every question. But still, if you want, I will publish it given the time. So one of the questions is, what is the difference between symmetric key cryptography and asymmetric key cryptography? So this is very intuitive questions. I mean, any computer security or information security or data security or cyber security guy who's teaching will ask you. If you go to any interview, this is one of the very basic questions that will be asked by any person. And then the second question is kind of an optional. If you are able to answer that, then it's good. If you're not able to answer that, then it's perfectly fine. If we are talking about symmetric and asymmetric cryptography, we should also know that, all right, this is the symmetric key cryptography or symmetric key encryption decryption. And these are the types like DES, triple DES, triple DES, and AES. We know that A advanced ES is the most famous symmetric key encryption and decryption method, which is used today. When I say that, automatically the next question is, if this is a famous symmetric key encryption and decryption which is being used today, who is using it? Can I know some applications who are using it? So as a computer security course, you should know some applications for every basic cryptographic technique. So search the 3 most famous applications that use symmetric cryptography. So when I say search the 3 most famous applications that use symmetric cryptography, that means by default, I am talking about AES cryptography or symmetric cryptography. I'm not talking about DES. I'm not talking about triple DES. I'm not talking about two-fish or some other RC4 techniques, because they are old ones. They are not used anymore. But this AES means by default symmetric cryptography. So you should know some 3 most famous applications. And then because symmetric key encryption decryption uses key, so if you're able to know which application is using what length of a key, then it would be good. If you are not able to do that, no problem, because I don't think so this information is publicly available. So these are the 2 questions, a very simple, straightforward tutorial. It's nice to experience this, and that's the tutorial for today. Yes? Why don't Pair keys, public and private keys, and all right, that's it. If you have any questions, anything else? So usually I try to give a tutorial explanation for 30 minutes, and then rest of the 30 minutes is for you to practice. And that's how I try to do it. If you have any questions, please let me know. A little. The only control that the users have is how many key pairs I want to generate. That's it. Think from a very common user point of view, who is an ordinary user. He's not interested how the key is generated. He's not that much computer literate. He do not have that much information about computer, or he do not have that much information about key pairs. Even he doesn't know what exactly are key pairs. Usually common users simply wants to just follow the steps. So we follow the steps to generate key pairs, which would be public and private keys. And it depends upon the user how many key pairs he wants to generate based on how many messages he wants to use for encryption and decryption. For example, if it's you and me, if it's Omer and Pang who wants to exchange data, then I would generate key pair values and you can generate key pair values. I can share my public key with you. You can share your public key with me. And I can use your public key, encrypt the data, and send it to you. Once you will receive that message, encrypted text, you can use that message, and by using your private key, you can decode it, you can decrypt it. Now, if, for example, a third person also joins in, it depends upon me. Should I generate another key value pair and share my public key with that third person? Or should I use my already generated existing key pair values, from which I shared my public key with you, and use the same public key, and I share my public key with the third person, and he can use my public key to send me the data. So the entire control is how many key value pairs do a sender wants to generate. The best thing about asymmetric key encryption and decryption is we can use one single key pair value and just share our public key with everyone, and everyone can use a public key to get back the encrypted message, to encrypt the data that they want to send me. Because if I start to generate key pair values with the number of people who wants to interact with me, it unnecessarily creates an overhead, and it becomes in a one way similar to symmetric key encryption and decryption. So the advantage of um, public key in cryptography is you you just generate one key pair, and then you start to share your public key with everybody, and they will use that public key, encrypt the data, and send me back the message, and then I can use my private key to decrypt it. I hope that answers the question. I will stop recording here. Yes, they can use it. They can use identical encryption method. That's not a problem. And their keys will be always different. See you on Friday.